We are live. We are live.
Hello and welcome to Moreness-Culture, and good morning, Syl, and good morning, Sher. Today we have Sher, a dear friend with us, and today's show is going to be about something unique and different and very special. We are not going to continue with the capital R reading of Don Juan's books, but we are going to do the capital R reading of a very special article by Sher. Sher is, okay, for us, she's a friend. Okay, yeah. And more than a friend, she's an inspiration. In many ways, she's an inspiration for me. When I see someone who is actually pulling herself out of, really, it's, I don't know how to say that. It's a really thick thing, but she pulled herself out of it, and then she rebuilt herself. She's still in the process, and on top of that, she has that courage to actually share what she has been through with. And it's a big, huge deal for me. Yes, we can share things openly when we get out of it. But Cher's story is different because what she's sharing, she has to really face a lot of hurdles into that, because other people's involved into this, and then her awareness, how it was growing and is still growing. Accepting and sharing these things, your process of becoming aware and, of course, acquiring awareness and moreness is not easy. I can say that. At least when people look up to you, like, okay, oh, yes, you are something, you are at this stage of your life, like, okay, you have achieved these things. And now you are saying that, okay, I'm rebuilding myself. Now I'm in the process. It's a big, huge deal. It needs a lot of courage, capital C courage, and it needs a lot of self-trust to share these type of things. And share, not only she just shared this verbally, she wrote a book about it. What a big, huge, huge achievement for anyone. Thousands of people I have seen who are like really dreaming, one day I'm going to write a book. Okay, one chapter, and then, okay, I'm also guilty of it. I have my things still incomplete there, but Cher has done something. She has achieved this, and she is still in process, and she's writing more books about it. She's a wonderful artist, and also she is an author, and she's a wonderful friend. And again, I will emphasize on that. She's an inspiration in many ways. She's really a true inspiration for many of us, because you have persona when you have something, when, okay, a lot of time you people around you or culture give you a title that, oh, this is who you are. Sometimes, of course, we also give ourselves that, okay, this is who I am. And then breaking all those existing personas and self-conceptions, and rebuilding a new, acquiring a new one. Big, huge deal, Cher. So thank you so much for joining us. And today we are going to continue with the capital reading. So I will keep my today's thought just about the article she has shared with us. So welcome, Cher.
Anything to share before we get going? One point from me. Cher also is someone who applies and does and implements, right? I mean, you know, we have Way-Of-Impeccability. Cher is a practitioner, but she's a practitioner of Way-Of-Impeccability. And to have been a participant in the past, that has value, obviously, but you need to be a practitioner of this, right? Because Way-Of-Impeccability is not a set of predefined beliefs. It's tools for you creating your own values and standards and tools, right? It's a toolbox to create tools, and you apply this, right? Every single day. You are a practitioner, and that is what matters. Yes, that is what matters. So that's a very big deal. It makes a huge difference. We can't just accumulate things and say, oh, I know it now. No, that's just on your hard drive. You've got to apply it. You've got to put it into action. You've got to use it. Got to run the program. All right, Sher?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sher. Go ahead.
I was just going to say your quote that I never forget, which is, well, there's two of them I never forget, but this one is the most important. Without application, it's all meaningless.
Exactly.
I live that every day.
Exactly. And it's so key to remember, you know, because then you say, I put all that effort into my learning and reading and the courses I took and whatever I did. Yeah, but it's all meaningless. I don't want to waste that effort. So it's a leverage on myself, right? and to realize
Right.
you've got to keep on practicing it, because we have a lifetime of habits to overcome. And that takes quite a bit of doing, Yeah.
Yeah.
So important. Very, very
Absolutely.
important. And the other quote, you said 2 quotes. That was one.
It all begins with awareness. And that's
There you go.
what happened recently.
There you go.
Well, actually both, but but yeah, this is where I am in this space that I've been kind of talking with you and Beena about a little bit, which is well, how about if I just read this?
Okay. Are you going to read the whole article?
Yep, I'm just going to read this.
Okay, wonderful. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'm nearly done here. So give us a bit more background, please. Because I'm just busy sharing, to the page and then all over the show. So
well, first off, Beena and Syl both.
But I want to screen share the article when you read it. I want to screen share. See?
Yes.
First, I want to thank you guys for just being there throughout these past however many years has it been? What are we looking at? 5 now? 4, 5 years? 5 years.
Five.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And something that occurred to me this morning, and I shared this with Syl earlier, which is discovery never sleeps.
Yes.
Discovery never sleeps.
And if we can, if we're going to add quotes to this, something very profound to add to this. It's something that comes up regularly and came up massively today for Beena and I, but that's a very long story, so I won't go into that. And that is, the world does not work the way we think it does.
Absolutely. Not even our own individual worlds, no matter what.
That's what I mean. So all of part of the world, our individual, internal, how we work, how the world works, how other, all of it, none of it. We have this idea that we sort of know how the world works. No, it's all wrong. The world is a magical place, and with magic, there are no real rules to magic. Yes, that's what makes it magical. And when we understand that the world is truly a magical place, and it doesn't work the way the unexpected can happen, discovery in ways that you never imagined, and things working completely against logic, and it's just like, wow, that should never be, right? But we, I think, should, and should shrinks the world. There's a nice quote for you.
It does.
Should shrinks your world.
I hope somebody remembers that, writes that down.
I'm going to put it in my quote file right now. I always do. I do these right away. It's very helpful.
And also that discovery never sleeps. Yes.
Yes. That one, when it came to me this morning, I just knew I needed to hold on to that and explore it further. But I guess to give a little bit of background on that, this started a few weeks ago when I recognized I didn't want to keep fixing myself. And let me back that a little bit. There was a very good friend of mine who said, stop. Essentially, they said, stop fussing about what you feel like you need to change, because everything is fine. Just be in the present, be happy with where you are. And I gave that a lot of thought. And then I recognized it's like, no, I really don't want to keep fixing myself, because there is nothing to fix. I'm not broken. I was never broken. I was only misguided. I was under an impression of everything, like you said, should. I was believing and buying into all those shoulds of things that, well, you're a survivor. Okay, so survivors should act like this. You should feel this way. You should not think so much of yourself. All of these messages that are just not true. It took a lot of time, quite a few years, to unpack all of those messages. But then I got to a point where, and we discussed this last week, I think so, where I just didn't feel like delving into the pain points of my story anymore. Like I said what I needed to say.
Wonderful. Absolutely, most magically, marvelously wonderful. Right. Before we get going here, I'll screen share in a moment and we can read. I just want to say hello to everybody. First of all, I want to say hello, Inez, Nice to see you. And
Hello.
Inez said,
Hello.
hello. Yes, hello. Brilliant, brilliant, Inez. All right. And of course, to Dushkatari and Lubna, just love you guys. By the way, love you, love you, love you very much. Your energy, your intent, your marvelousness, your goodness, your specialness. They are two just fantastic creatures, like angels from the old heaven, right? Just too wonderful. So truly, truly, I mean, am I right, Beena? They are, right?
Yes.
Not
Yes,
from
they
the
are.
religious heaven, from
No, 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 they are.
the old heaven, the time before heaven, the one that's in my story, right?
Yes,
Just
they are.
pure angels, right? Pure angels,
Um,
truly, truly. It's unbelievable people, really. So anyway, I'm thrilled that you guys are all here. It's just wonderful. It really is important and magical and marvelous that you're here. So brilliant, brilliant. All right, we'll keep an eye on chat over there, and we are going
Yes.
to do screen share so that we can, just read along with Sher as she reads. Now, Sher's going to read it from her own there, but
Yes.
there we go.
I was gonna say, yeah, give me just a second.
No problem, no problem.
I was
No
trying to
problem.
close out any of the other applications that
Yeah.
are making it lag. So
Yes, that's always good. Yes, yes. Close everything else. Yeah, very good, very good. All right, we are cooking. We are ready. We are ready.
So where
Go ahead.
I
Good looking.
where I post and publish primarily, what I do is I write. Well, I was writing every day, several times a day. I'm still writing on a daily basis, but a lot of things of what I do write and post publicly are my thoughts from my daily journaling. And even though I do write in a notebook daily, I will turn around and just kind of clean it up and post it for the public to read, because I feel that it's more important to share my journey. People are going to get a lot more, I think, out of it for themselves if I'm sharing my journey instead of telling them, this is how you recover, this is the steps you take, this is what you do. I don't like to work that way. I would prefer to share what I've been through so that it may resonate with somebody else. And well, we'll just, I'll
Exactly.
start and let you guys go from there.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I have reached a point where I've shared all there is to share about my trauma. It's like standing on the edge of an expansive, unfamiliar landscape. The words have been spoken, the pain expressed, and my story has been laid bare. But what happens next? What now? What comes after the catharsis of release? This stage in the healing journey, it's a stage that's often less discussed, yet it is a crucial turning point in reclaiming personal power and life. And this is where I find myself today. The shift from speaking to being. Sharing my trauma, whether in therapy with trusted friends or through writing, was and is an essential part of my healing process.
Was.
It allowed me to confront what was once buried, to give voice to the experiences that shaped me, and to begin untangling the web of emotions surrounding my past. But once this has been done, a shift begins, a movement from external expression to internal transformation. Now, this can be a confusing space. And if I allowed it, uncertainty about the path ahead could take hold. I want to pause right there.
Yeah.
If I were to allow myself to be uncertain about this space that I'm finding myself in, I would leave it. I would go back to the safety of chaos, go back to the comfort of what is familiar to me, which is that need to follow the should of. We should always be fixing ourselves. We should always be improving. Growth to me is not about improving. Recovery is not about improving. It's about finding your authentic self and being comfortable in a space that you choose. Okay, so
can you repeat that, please, Sher? Can you repeat that, please?
That growth, okay, growth is not about I just completely lost it. So,
Okay. No worries. Carry on.
okay. So, this space has allowed me to confront what was once buried. Nope, sorry, I got to go back. I messed up there. This can be a confusing space, and if I allowed it, uncertainty about the path ahead could take hold. It's not where I want to be. Instead, I choose to recognize this shift as an opportunity to apply and live what I've learned and experienced in my everyday life. It's about moving from talking about my pain to living in a way that reflects my growth. My story no longer defines me. Instead, it becomes a chapter in the larger narrative of my life. This transition marks the beginning of a deeper, more nuanced phase of healing. This is
Yes.
the beginning of
Yes.
awareness. Keep in mind, discovery never sleeps. So I'm back
Exactly.
to full awareness now.
Yes.
Embracing silence and stillness. And after the words have been said, the next step involves embracing silence and stillness. This doesn't mean suppressing my emotions or that I'm ignoring my past. I thought that too. I used to think that. Rather, what it means is I'm allowing myself the space to just sit with what is. This has been particularly challenging for me because chaos was my constant companion for so long. If I wasn't fixing myself or trying to change something about me, I was uncomfortable. Now, silence becomes fertile ground where I can listen to my inner voice without the need for external validation, explanation, or the angst of feeling I'm not enough.
Yeah.
In this space, I've begun to reconnect with parts of myself that were overshadowed by trauma. I've discovered new aspects of my identity, interests that had been neglected, and dreams I had forgotten. And I'm inserting that I'm beginning to play.
Yes. Yes.
The,
Yes.
the
Yes.
stillness allows for a reconnection with my authentic self, free from the noise of the past, and discovering my moreness. See, discovery never sleeps.
Never. There's always
So
more to moreness.
that's right. So as I move into this safe space, acceptance plays a crucial role. Acceptance doesn't mean condoning what happened or diminishing its impact. Rather, it's about acknowledging my experiences without letting them control my present. This is where the true meaning of unbound living comes into play. It's living in a way that no longer shackles me to my past, to that trauma, but it instead is guided by self-awareness, acknowledgement, and acceptance. Acceptance allows me to see my trauma as a part of my story, but it's not the whole story. It empowers me to release the grip that the past had on my decisions, my behaviors, and my self-perception. This stage or this space is about making peace with my past, not through forgetting, but through understanding and compassion for myself. So with acceptance comes the opportunity to rebuild and redefine my life through practice and application. What values are important to me now? How do I want to engage with the world? This phase is about constructing a life that aligns with who I've become after the chaos of living in survival mode. It's a time of exploration and experimentation, when I can try new things and meet new people and challenge old beliefs that no longer serve me. I've also realized that this rebuilding process involves setting boundaries, something that I couldn't accomplish without self-trust. It's about recognizing what is healthy and nourishing for me and making choices that reflect my commitment to my well-being. So the journey forward. The path forward after sharing my story is one of continuous growth and self-discovery, embracing the unknown with curiosity, and I have to add, and joy.
Like,
Curiosity
exactly.
and joy. And allowing myself the grace to evolve.
Yes.
Healing is not a linear process, nor does it have a definitive endpoint. Instead, it's a lifelong journey of learning, unlearning, and relearning. It's wash, rinse, and repeat. In this new safe space, my focus shifts from what happened to me to what I can create from here on out.
Yes.
The question is no longer about the trauma itself, but about
Yes.
how I can leverage my experiences to live a life that feels true and fulfilling. And this is the essence of unbound living, living in a way that honors my past, but is not confined by it. So now that I've said all that there is to say about my trauma, the journey doesn't end. It transforms.
Yes.
The words may fade, but the lessons and growth continue to shape me. What comes next is an ongoing process of self-discovery, acceptance, creation, and sharing the journey. It's
Capital
me.
S sharing.
Mhm. It's me stepping into my life with a sense of unbound freedom, guided by the wisdom of my experiences, not limited by them.
Yes. 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 See, there I gotta click. See the I'm getting a prompt that says this is beautiful. Yes, it is.
Thank you.
As I'll say it there. Thank you, prompt. Thank you, prompt. Thank you, prompt.
Why I
Marvelous.
wanted to share this was because I struggled with communicating what this space was for me. So many times as survivors, I'm not going to say this survivor, me, I struggled.
Yeah, nice.
I struggled with saying those words of, I'm done. I'm enough. Why? Well, because like I said, if I were to say those, I'd have to really put my money where my mouth was. I'd really have to believe that and live it. I can't say something that I'm not going to do. And I can't say I'm going to let go if I'm still holding on to it in the background.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I recognized that I was in an empty yet a full space, like I said, this expansive, unknown universe that's ahead of me, full of awareness and attunement and all kinds of anomalies and all kinds of every good thing I can imagine. I was a bit taken aback and I was joyful. And at the same time, I was really just relieved because it's like, it's done. I said what I needed to say. And that was probably the most important point of everything is I said what I needed to say. And that is a statement that was hard to make.
Exactly. 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 Because our impeccability always has that little bit of doubt that said, is there more? Is there more that I need to do? Is there more that can be done? But at some point you have to tie it off. You have to tie it off and say, That's
I
it.
do.
I have a
Yeah.
question for you
Okay.
related to this. Very profound
Mhm.
question, very serious question. So this is a question that has to be given the absolute fullest consideration possible. Sure. Are you the same person that you used to be back then in your trauma days?
Absolutely not.
Are you the same person? No, absolutely not. Can you do the things that you did then?
I could, but I don't want to.
I would really say that you could not. I think those things would be impossible to do now, right? Uh,
Probably.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, because again, you say, well, I would not want to, but that's what makes them impossible. That the
Yeah.
wanting of that, you're never
Mhm.
going to want that again because it's
No.
just not part of who you are now. You are very different. Now,
Oh, my
I'll ask you
choices are
a
different.
follow-up question. Are you the
Okay.
same person I met 5 years ago?
No.
Just
Not
five
even.
years, right? So in
Isn't that
5 years
wild?
ago, you weren't the same person as now. Never mind, I don't know how many other years ago. I don't want to say, but so you're not the same as you
No.
were back then, not even close. And when we
Right.
realize that we have profoundly changed, I'm no longer that person. I'm a new person, and you might as well say
Mhm.
it's like, wow, I'm starting a new life. You're like a child almost, yes? And
Yeah.
now you can say, well, what do I want to do with myself? Who do I want to be? Where am I going? All of those now, because you have so profoundly changed, all of those become very relevant and new questions, new decisions,
Again.
and they need to be asked and answered. Why? Because you can't be relying on you made those questions and you made decisions way back in your past, but they're still in you there somewhere. You say, no, those no longer apply. I got to start all over again. I'm a new person. Nothing from the past applies. Nothing.
Right.
Yes,
Nothing. Nothing does. That was the part that was hard to let go.
exactly, exactly,
It was the
exactly.
part that
And
was
and
difficult
and
to let
any
go.
any kind of shame or guilt or blame or anything like this, it's gone. Why? Because you're a different person.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
think of it this way, right? When we get born, right? Let's just assume for those who believe in reincarnation or multi-universes or whatever, right? That we have a
Mhm.
soul, there's some continuation. When you get born, you don't carry over the stuff from your previous life. You're starting fresh. Whatever
Right.
you did in the previous life, that's there, it stays in Vegas, right? So it's important to understand this, but we don't have to die to be reborn.
No, we don't.
No, we can change. We can change profoundly. And
Yeah.
and we realize this. And at some point we change so profoundly that none of the past has anything to do with us anymore.
No.
Nothing. Right? It
But what
just does
did
not apply.
get something though? Change. That's an important word. It's not
Yeah.
fix. Remember, let's go back to
Exactly.
that statement that I made about recovery. Growth,
Exactly.
growth doesn't mean fixing. Your
Exactly.
recovery isn't about fixing. It's
Yeah.
about, I mean, I'm speaking of recovery from trauma. I mean, that's going to include everything, recovering from
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
kinds of addictions and afflictions. We can be addicted to anything, chemicals, food, etc. Everything. It's
Yeah.
not, it's not about fixing anything because I firmly believe anybody who's ever survived any kind of traumatic experience, regardless of what that trauma was, it didn't break you.
No.
It didn't break you. That's a mindset. That's a belief.
Exactly. Exactly.
What it did is it changed us, but we have the power to change ourselves, and we don't have to change back. We don't have to reclaim. We speak a lot as survivors about reclaiming our life, reclaiming our power. It's kind of hard to reclaim something that wasn't ever really taken from us. We just hid it.
Exactly.
We hid it to
Exactly.
protect ourselves.
Exactly.
Now that's just
Exactly.
my belief.
Yeah.
So, I'm
One
not
of
speaking for
right.
others. I'm just kind of speaking for
Exactly,
me.
exactly, exactly. And coming at it from a Eunice point as well.
Mhm.
At some point I brought up a really profound technique. Now I want to emphasize this. This, what I'm going to share in a moment, it's a technique, a tool, a methodology. It's not a belief system. It's a tool, a methodology, a technique. Yes, it's something that we can apply and practice for the purpose of leveraging ourselves. And
Right.
that was, I said, as a hypothetical, I said, sure, imagine, just imagine as a hypothetical that you chose the circumstances of your birth and had the awareness, the foresight to understand that from this, likely this and this and this is going to happen. In other words, you chose, and what happened as a result of that choosing of the circumstances of your birth, your life went in a particular direction, and you had this idea, you had this foreknowledge that likely that was going to. In other words, so what all happened to you happened because of your choice. And right, I might be expressing it differently to how I expressed it back then, but this is a profound, profound question. When we start to say, well, if I had chosen this, why would I have chosen it? And we start to think differently. And in
Yep.
that difference, we discover this magical moreness of possibility. Wow, wow. If I'd actually chosen this, then what would have been the good reason? And now I start looking for good reasons and I find them. And you found plenty good reasons.
Yes, I did. That was
It changed you
amazing.
profoundly. I remember this. It was a
And I
big deal
remember
at the
that
time.
session.
It shifted you to say, whoa, holy moly. You know, I've always assumed that it was others, and they are not that they aren't blameless, that they, no, they did horrible things, yes. However, that wasn't all of the story.
Right.
It's not all of it. It's part only. And when we realize there's another way to look at it, which says, wow, there's actually some value here for me, should I choose to extract it?
Yes.
And create it. That's what moreness is all about. Extracting,
Yeah.
creating value, finding value, especially value that's not there typically, right? You found tremendous value in your experiences. Were they pleasant? No. But is the
No.
value now pleasant? Yes.
It is. It is.
Big deal.
Because not only in those experiences, but, and that's what I share, is that value. I'm not, I no longer, oh gosh, I really don't want to share the details of my story much. Yes, it's out there, it's in the book. But that was then.
Right.
And even now, when I go back and reread my own story, I'm still extracting, strangely enough, goodness from what happened in that badness.
Exactly. So let me ask you, what are the consequences of your trauma?
What are the consequences of my trauma? Outcomes or consequences?
Both.
I
mean, the end result, as you're saying this, is value, usefulness, moreness, growth, change.
Oh, well, when you mentioned value, I'm just like, I am enough now. I do have value. I have every single right to be here.
Exactly.
I'm not carrying resentment or guilt or shame.
Yes.
For any of the things that I ever did as a result of choices and consequences. And what is the outcome? The outcome is right now, right here, right now, this present moment.
Exactly. Would it be accurate to say the outcome and consequence of your past life, right, is that you are now a person you like being?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now let's be discerning.
Practitioner of unbound living.
Exactly, but let's be discerning here. Syl is saying that we need trauma to become who we want to be. No, I'm not saying that.
No, he's not. No.
This applies to Sher. Could there have been other paths that you could have followed? Yes, but who knows why Sher chose this particular path? That's something deep inside Sher. Who knows? It worked.
Yeah.
Now, could there have been other paths that work? Of course there are. Does it matter? No, because you are here now. And when you look at that time period of trauma in the context of the future, and especially in the context of eternity, it's an insignificant blip.
Yeah. I had no idea.
Sher may have said, right. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I had no idea. Just thinking back, even 5 years ago when we first started. So I never would have imagined that I would come to this point where I would make that statement that I've said all I need to say about what happened to me. That I just never could have imagined ever having that moment of thinking where I don't want to tell my story anymore. There's no need to, because it's not relevant.
Exactly.
And I know that sounds strange. My story was very relevant to where I am today, and to what I do, to how I live. But it's not, it's relevant, but it's not me. It's not who I am.
Exactly.
And I think that was the point that I was trying to make, which is, you know, when you get to that point of where you feel like you have said everything that you need to say, then you can go anywhere with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, exactly, you can go anywhere with it. It's so potent. Yeah.
I sent you you and Beena both. I don't know if you can pull it up, Syl, that little drawing that I did.
Oh yes, I can.
My unfinished drawing. I'm still fiddling with it. Maybe I'll go back and change a lot of it. But I had this vision in my head when I was trying to draw anyways, what I was feeling. That's one of the things that was very instrumental when you're in recovery. Art therapy is huge. Let's see, wait till you pull it up.
There we go.
Yeah, there. That blank area there. That's what I see that I have around me. All of these colored fragments, that's my past. That was this journey that I've been on. And that's still my journey, but that's the past.
Yeah.
It's got
I love it.
colors.
I love it. It's a wonderful painting.
I was trying to show a flow from, like, you know, right to left, or just basically, you know, it's still going kind of thing. I wasn't wildly successful with it, but the book, little me there, painting my story, drawing my story, writing.
Yeah.
It's a blank slate.
Remember those, we've seen those maps from the olden days, right? When they didn't quite know all of the world, right? And on the far corners of the maps, right? What was always written there? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but I don't remember what was written.
Here be dragons.
Oh yeah, okay. Yep.
Yeah, wow. Well, on that blank page, I feel now you can say here be Moreness.
There you go. Because that's what I'm working on.
That's what's on those blank pages. Here be Moreness, right? Undiscovered. Yeah. Right. But you know, that here be dragons, it's like, come on, you have no idea. You're just imagining this, right? You've never been there. How would you know?
Yeah. Well, see, that's why
that fear of the unknown.
I can make plans. Right. I've got all kinds of plans. I've got all kinds of dreams and ideals. But can I say absolutely any of them are going to happen? Oh, no.
Who cares? It's the pursuit that matters.
Yeah.
Who cares? Yeah.
Exactly. It's just,
you know, sure. Unbending intent is very important. It would be too much detail to go into, but so you just kind of have to take my word a little bit for it. But from a young man, in particular, I'm thinking of something very specific. I pursued things most assiduously, right? Like ways in which to generate income. Yeah. And I did, I sent away for courses, and I sent away for, you know, to ads, and I did, I don't know, so many. I mean, literally probably hundreds, yes, if not thousands of things, right? Yeah. And I kept at it, and I never let go of that. And eventually something came to me that satisfied the criteria that I was looking for, the intent. I mean, it took 40 years, but so what? So what? Yeah, doesn't matter. And same thing with people that I know. You know, I looked for this type of interaction when I was a boy already. It wasn't available to me throughout my, you know, my upbringing, right? And beyond even. I never had it, right? It's only something that's come recently, but I never stopped intending it. This Moreness, right? Never. So we have to have this we have to have this understanding of the power of patience, and along with patience, the power of unbending intent. Yes.
Yes.
And to realize that time is not what we think it is. Yes. And when you have patience, you can compress time, and you can skip over slow time, and you get to where you are. It takes a while, but that patience is very important. And to me, patience has been an absolute superpower to get to moreness. Yes. But I never gave up. I never gave up. Never gave up. Never, ever, 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 ever. Yes. And things happen. Many things happen, which is very interesting, about capital D, dreaming. That's something that I've never given up on either. I did it in my youth, but it took so much energy, and it's never come back since then. But I know it will. Why? Because I'm persisting in this intent. When the time is right, it will come. So much of what we want, we're not ready for.
That's true.
Let me repeat that.
I agree.
So much of what we want, we're not ready for. And should you get what you want when you're not ready for it, that can be very devastating. I've seen this in relationships, yes, where people want and they intend their dream partner and they get it, but they weren't ready for it and they couldn't handle it. And of course, the relationship fell apart. And they realize, I had my dream woman, my dream partner, my dream person, my dream guy, whatever. I had it, but I wasn't ready for it. I couldn't handle it. And it's now really my fault that I don't have it now. And now it's in the past. And that's very heartbreaking. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't get it again, but make sure that you have yourself sorted first.
Yeah, well, that same thing goes with
very important. Very important.
If I had not been I believe this, if I had not been ready for this space, if I had not been already there and just not aware of it yet, this, and I'm considering this a very safe space internally, I probably would have, I'm going to guess, sabotaged some way or another and went and looked for something else to fix, something else that needed to, I'm forever going to be growing. Growth is constant.
Exactly. Growth is a joy. It's a joy, for heaven's sake.
I was definitely ready for, because it's something that I had set an intent for, was just internal peace.
Exactly.
I mean, gosh, when I came to you, I mean, that's where I was. I was just, there was a storm. There was just nothing but a storm around me and inside of me. Always.
Now, I want to add something very important. Your article, very cool article, but the article essentially raises a question.
Okay.
Of what now? What next? Yes?
Yeah, what next?
Right. Now, how do we normally determine what is next in our lives? We think of the usual things. What do I want? What should I do? Etc. Right?
Yep.
And it's very important to be aware of the danger of should. Like I said earlier, should shrinks your world.
Yes.
Be very, very careful. Should is one of the most dangerous things. I would probably say it is the most dangerous and devastating thing, right? Yep. Most people live their lives according to a should, and the shoulds are horrible. They are terrible. I'm reading a book by my new friend Otessa, and it's all about the characters are living according to should, and they live terrible lives. They live horrible lives. They do horrible things, right? It's a brilliant book, but it's also very sad at the same time. I mean, yes, it's also a lot of humor in it because it's crazy what they do, but this is real. It's real, but all because of should. And I remember that show Sex in the City. The book that I'm reading by Otessa has got some elements of that. Now, it's not four friends, just one person mainly and her friend, but still. In that show, they always were the four friends, right? The four girls, the four women. They were talking about guys, obviously. It's a big part of their conversation. They're modern New York women, etc., right? And the ideal man. This came up a lot, right? The ideal man that they wanted. They called him Mr. Big, right? Or Mr. Right, I think. Either way. Anyway. And they would discuss this at length. And of course, they had relationships. And throughout the show, the relationships never worked. And even with the main character, when she finally did get her ideal man, she couldn't handle it, and there was trouble in the relationship. I don't know how it ended because I might not have watched toward the end, but I know that there was she had the relationship, and then it went out, and then maybe they got back together again. Nonetheless, my point is that throughout that entire show, not once did any one of those women say, "What can I do to change, to be worthy and ready for the ideal partner in my life?" Not once. Not once did they consider changing themselves. No, they wanted the ideal guy, but not once did it change. Now, it isn't just to them. The guys that they were with, the men they were with, they likewise didn't think that they needed to change, right? Which is why the relationships didn't work.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm being sexist here. The show just happened to focus on 4 women. You could have made the same show about 4 guys, and they would have been the same, right? Because they were showing what the show was very realistic in its own peculiar way of showing the psychology. Brilliant. Norma's here. Norma's here. Norma's here.
Hi, Norma.
Yeah. We are thrilled you're here. We are thrilled you're here. So very cool, Norma. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Very cool, Norma. Very good. Love that you're here. Love that you're here. Always good when you come. Anyway, so I'm saying about this point about us thinking about change. Our society, our culture worldwide, when we have a problem, we have been taught and conditioned, and it's just part of the system, that it's something else out there that's causing us the problem.
Right.
That's our default, right? And when we fix it, we've got to fix the circumstance. But it's not, it's internal. You've got to change, right? Yes, there are things that affect you from the outside, but that's kind of primitive thinking. Well, I'm hot. Well, why am I hot? I'm hot because it's hot outside, right? It's summer, whatever. You see, so we tend to have this assumption that how we feel, how we are, is because of external circumstances. Because it applies to basic things like our physicality. I'm hungry and that. Those are related to outside. But our emotional state, our psychological state, this is yours to choose. Yes, it can be influenced by outside. Can be, but it doesn't have to be.
Right.
It doesn't have to be.
Yeah. Exactly. So you just brought home what I was, I guess, anyways, that the whole part of what's next.
Yeah.
Just by that one statement there, what you said, we are choosing. And so I know I can choose whatever comes next. Do I have a clue?
Right.
Right.
Now I want to get to the
writing. I'm going to be coaching still. I'm going to be doing all of that. But there's more.
Exactly. And I want to get to the moreness because I'm heading somewhere with this question. Right? How do we typically determine what we want when we say, "Ooh, I don't know what's next for me. I'm open to whatever is best for me"? Okay. Now, if we have impeccability, we say, "Well, what's best for me?" Oh, well, okay, let me think about that. And I think about what's best for me. And I really think about this, and I apply Way of Impeccability's tools. I think about it all the way to the end. And I perspective shift to multiple perspectives.
Yes.
And I say, wow, you know what? I've come up with this list of what's best for me. I've got a whole long list of stuff. Problem is, I don't know that I know for a fact what's best for me.
That's right.
My humility, my understanding of myself relative to the universe, says I cannot completely trust that what I think is best for me actually is. Because if I look back in my life, I've discovered so many things that I never thought were good for me, but actually were. So I don't trust my ability to choose. And I'm a bit stuck here. Well, am I going to do what's best for me? Of course, the answer is a profound aspect of Moreness-Culture, which is what we're all about. Sharing of Moreness-Culture. Way of Impeccability is the foundation, the cornerstone, the root, the basement, right? The supporting structure for Moreness-Culture. And in Moreness-Culture, well, it's part of Way of Impeccability. The end point of Way of Impeccability, the whole last module, it's all about attunement, right?
Yes.
There you go. That's how we can get to know what's best for us, by paying attention to attunement. Life, the universe, whatever you want to say, God, Buddha, Krishna, whoever, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter your deity, Allah, whoever. right? That will bring to you what is best for you if you pay attention. Now, in order to even see what comes via attunement, we have to be open to it.
Right.
Yeah? Because the universe kind of gives you what you want. But if you just focused on your little bubble and, oh, I'm happy with my little cozy bubble, you block off anything else that's new and open. We have to be open. You know, I've had a couple of really profound opportunities in my life. But when they came my way, I could easily have dismissed it. Well, one particularly, and now another one has just recently come out. I'll only know next month. But the first one that came fairly recently in my life, you know, within the last couple of years, it came via email. I could easily have dismissed it as spam or a scam or a phishing email or something like that. Right? I could easily have done that because I'm like, oh, this is too good to be true. But I was open and I responded and followed, and it was fantastic. It was really awesome. Right? I believe Beena's rejoined us. Right?
Yeah, Beena.
So this point. Hello, Beena.
Yes.
Hello, Beena. Hello, Beena. Oh,
Yes,
so pleased you're back. So pleased you're back.
It was a power shutdown, and we have this director. So unfortunate.
Bummer.
Did you get Farouk to put the generator on?
Yes, but it is like it took some time. So yes. Anyway,
Okay.
everything
Anyway,
is
I'm talking
good.
about being open, I'm talking about attunement and being open to what attunement brings us. For instance, I remember this when I was started playing gaming, right? And I was on voice comms with the guild. This was World of Warcraft. And one of the guild members, I think it was the guild leader for a while, he was about to leave because he'd finished university, he got his degree, and he was about to go and look for a job. And I said, just, you know, something which I'd said to others before many times. I said, by the way, don't be focused only on thinking to get a job based on what you expect to get. Like, I think he was like a chemical engineer or some very specific degree. I said, be open to whatever comes your way. You will be surprised when you start to open up what you get offered. Boy, he came on later and he said, you know, I really did what you said. I stayed open. And I've got a dream job, which I never, ever would have thought I could have gotten, would have gotten, even existed. Because all I was thinking about was, okay, well, I'll get a job, you know, as a chemical engineer. He got a job in a completely different field. And it was like beyond the imagination. It was so profound, right? Just because he was open. Just because he was open. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
And that's what I'm saying. Yes. Same thing with relationships. Yes.
Hello,
same
CJ.
with children. Yes. Don't have expectations that limit you. Be open to the unexpected. Be open to the more, and stay attentive. That's the key. You have to stay attentive. You have to pay attention. You know, I look at all my emails that I get, and I get lots of them from all sorts of. And I could easily have not even opened that email. Yeah, I just see it. Oh, it's from. Oh, why would they be sending me an email? Assumptions. Assumptions can be the killers of moreness.
Yes.
True.
Yes.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yes. Very true. Very true. This is so.
Quite well.
Okay, sure. Sorry, I just missed that you're reading because that's something where I was very keen about. So what you guys have been discussing about that specifically, I'm really keen to know that. If you can summarize it.
I think what, well, one of the things, big summary, actually, to me, the whole key point was, what does it mean to me anyways, about being in this space, about being to that point of saying all that I felt like I needed to say? Because I know when I first started on this journey, there was a lot of anger. There was a lot of inner turmoil and chaos and constant upset, a whole lot of emotions that were just like all of a sudden kind of rushing to the surface. And even though I had shared my story with like counselors and therapists before, I hadn't shared it on a level that I was while working with you guys and then writing my book. But I'm to that point. What I was trying to say is, I've said that all that I need to say. It's not that I've finished leveraging any of my story, but it's not me anymore. I'm now to that point where I can honestly say that I am 100% genuinely good enough. I am enough as I am right now. Enough. Is there
Wonderful.
more? Heck yes, there's more. Yes, there's
Wonderful.
more. But I
One.
don't want to keep fixing because there's nothing to fix. I don't want to keep digging for things that might need to change, because whatever's going to change will change on its own. It will change naturally. I don't want
Yeah.
to have to go through processes and jump through hoops anymore. I love what the word that Syl had used earlier, which was practitioner. Yes, I am now a
Yes.
practitioner of.
Yes.
I'm a
Moreness
practitioner of
living.
life.
Of
I'm a
Moreness living.
practitioner. Yeah,
Yeah.
Moreness-Living.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I also, even though I call it unbound living, that's what it is to me, is Moreness-Living.
Exactly.
Unbound is living in
Exactly.
your Moreness.
Exactly.
And it's not that, I used to struggle with that word too. And you guys knew this. I was like, I don't understand it. I don't get it. The thing is internally, externally, I may not always be able to describe it perfectly, but I feel like I don't have to, because if you're living it, you don't need to describe it.
Exactly.
And I
Exactly.
hope that part
Exactly.
makes
And
sense.
Moreness is a bit difficult to describe anyway.
It is. To me,
Yeah.
it is that unknown, but it doesn't have to be a scary unknown.
Correct.
It
That's
could
the
be.
whole definition of Moreness. It's not scary. It's more. There's magic in there. There's more in there. Value,
Yes,
usefulness,
exactly.
excitement, joy, excellence, fantasticness. Yeah. I mean, I can go on, but Sean.
But there were and also too, Syl was talking, Beena, he had flowed into anyways the attunement. How well, and essentially, if I was not attuned, if I was not in a space of awareness, I don't think I would have come to this point. I would have just ignored that thought when it
Right.
crossed my head of, I've said all I need to say. And I want to give you an example. Well, I'll get there in a second. Attunement cannot happen if you're in survivor mode.
Yeah.
You can't. It just doesn't happen. You're going to miss anomalies. You're going to miss the signs. You're going to miss a whole lot when you're sitting and living with survivor mode, because you're surrounded in chaos.
Exactly.
You're thinking constantly, and this, I'm describing me constantly thinking about the past and worrying about, will you ever be able to get out of it? Not as long as you're swimming in it. No,
Yeah. Yeah.
can't.
Please. Sorry. So I'm just thinking now. Anybody watching? Norma, Inez, Lubna, Dushka, Beena. Well, Beena not watching, you're participating. But everybody, have any questions? Please ask. I'm very keen
Yeah.
to hear any questions. Norma
Yeah.
says, "You are you now and love.
Mhm.
You are you and you are love," says Norma. Yes.
Yes.
Which equals
Yes.
all caps all. You are part of everything and part of love. Yes.
Yes.
That's what Moreness is. It's loving the
I
world,
like that.
loving the universe, living in love, being love. Yes. It's a very big
Yeah.
part of Moreness. Yes.
You had
Yes.
asked earlier, Syl, could I ever go back or do the things that I did before, or be the person that I was before?
Yeah.
Now I understand that question. And now I have to say, no, I could not.
You could not. It's impossible.
No, I
It's
could not.
impossible. It's impossible. Yeah, we
Not an
can't go
option.
back. We can't go
No,
back. We can't go back.
not an
Yeah.
option.
Yeah.
But like I said, in Beena, I came up with, I wanted to make the point, which is that growth to me is not fixing. It's just not fixing. You're not fixing.
Exactly. That's a very, very important point. Growth is not fixing. Yes, I've said this many, many times before. And, part of doing Way-Of-Impeccability, we started from that point to say, we're not here to fix you. You're already good.
You did.
Right?
You're right. You're right. And I didn't believe you. I did
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
believe you. I was
Yeah.
just questioning the entire time, going, yeah, but how does he know? How does he know? How will I know this works? And to be honest with you, I didn't really have specific set points. I had one very set specific point of when I knew that what I was experiencing was helping me to grow, which is the moment that I realized I really liked myself. I didn't love myself yet, but I liked myself at that moment, which was enormous. That was a big step forward for me.
Yes.
When I got to that moment, that was life-changing.
Yeah, and we had those questions that, do you sell it? All right, go ahead, Beena. Go ahead.
No, I was just amazed by that you mentioned that, Sher, that you like yourself but not loving yourself, because mostly, generally, what happens that we do love ourselves, but we don't like ourselves. Loving is something we have a kind of a bit fuzzy and muddled concept about loving. So, but in your case, you said that, okay, you were liking yourself, but you were not loving yourself, which is a kind of very, very unique situation. Another interesting point which you mentioned and which you brought up, that attunement doesn't happen when you are in your survival mode, which is kind of really, I just want to sit with it, and I'm going to think about it. And of course, then I'm going to come back and I will ask you again, because I personally feel that attunement is something much bigger than our own intents and our circumstances. That was my idea, of course. So I just want to sit with it, and then I will think about it, and then I will come back again and ask you questions.
Well, let me see if I can help with that. When if I were to describe in a picture that statement, attunement doesn't happen in survival mode. When I am in survival mode, I imagine myself enclosed, and there is a very thick dome or shroud or whatever you want to call it, but there's something that's just around me and surrounding me, and it seems impenetrable, because you're so busy thinking, I have to keep myself safe, I have to be safe, I have to be safe. Those are my thoughts. If I'm buried that deep, and if I'm steeped and swimming in nothing but the fear and the uncertainty and the doubt and all of that, and the lack of self-trust, nothing from outside is going to be able to reach me.
Exactly.
I would be unreachable. And there were many, many days early in my journey that's how I was. I spent 3 days with Syl, and I still went away scratching my head going, what the heck is perspective shifting? I couldn't grasp it.
I love this, yeah.
Same here.
I couldn't put my head around it, let alone anything else he was saying. I'm just like, he's a really cool dude, really love his company, but I just don't get it. It took a long time because of that. It was
I was understanding what perspective shifting was, but I was like, oh my God, he must have a superpower, because how can a person come up with? So I tried to find some excuses that, okay, he set his mind that I'm going to negate whatever the other person is saying. So that's why automatically he came up with the opposite idea. But of course, that was not the case. And then I said, okay, no. So
yes.
He's setting some cues in his mind. And then I asked him, how can you be like that? And he said, it will come automatically. And then I set my intent loud and clear. I want to have this ability to be able to perspective shift. This is again, I like your thought about attunement, but it is not coming, really not sitting with me right now, which is of course very good, because you give me something to think about, and I'm going to of course think about it. But I want to personally, I would just want to share something about trauma, because my understanding with trauma is, which makes sense to me, of course, everything which is not aligned with our inner self is a trauma for us. It's exactly like if we ingest something, inhale something, or eat something which is not, of course, appropriate for us, it is considered as a foreign body by our own physical system, and our own whole physical system start to get rid of it. That's the chaos we have. chaos in the body, in the physical system. An emergency declared that, okay, we have a foreign body here and we have to get rid of it. That type of chaos happened in our awareness also. When something which doesn't align with our understanding, with our concepts of who we are and how we have to be, it is considered by our awareness system also as a foreign body. And we want to get rid of it. And that's a chaos, actually, like, okay, yes, I just want. So that catharsis, that process of sharing and telling other people about your story is also like, it's a process of getting rid of this.
Yes.
Getting that rid of the foreign body out of your system and just put it out there. So that's the first thing, which also aligned with what Syl was saying, that you are not broken, as you were also saying that we are not broken. We don't need to fix. We don't need to fix ourselves.
No.
We need to understand that this is something, it's a foreign body in our system.
Right.
This needs to be fixed, not ourselves. That's the confusion we get out. Mostly we have that, oh, I need to fix myself. No, it was that foreign body, that idea, that behavior of other people, those circumstances, those things which happen to us. These are the foreign bodies. They need to be fixed, not ourselves. That's why our body is reacting. That's why our mental body and awareness and also every system is reacting towards that, to get rid of that the foreign body. This is what I think. And that the chaos we feel in that, the turmoil and everything, because incident happens. For me, I will go a bit in a sensitive details. Same act is considered as assault, rape, and same act is considered as love. How? Because we accept it as our own. And the other is, no, it's a foreign thing. We need to get rid of it. It will create trauma to ourselves. This is what happened. Okay, this just to understand this, what trauma is and why the catharsis is very important. The very basic thing, you have to actually throw this thing out to get rid of it. But it doesn't mean that now your whole system is going to be at peace immediately after that. No, because the damage is already done. It's disrupt the whole system and everything. What's the next step towards that? So the next step is, the first and the most important thing is to be a gatekeeper of yourself, to not allow anything which seem like a foreign body to your system. So stop right there. We have to be very thorough. This is the first thing I personally feel, that in the process of healing from trauma, first to be a gatekeeper or a guard to yourself and say that, okay, I will not allow any foreign body anymore. Mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, anything. Whatever is going to come, it has to be my own. Otherwise, no. That's the first thing. And of course, after that, what we talk about, we always mention that, okay, please be careful with your online algorithm, because ultimately it is going to set and affect your life algorithm.
Correct.
What online algorithm is, like what you are preferring, what you are making a choice of, clicking likes, making comments, the algorithm is going to bring so much other similar things like that into your life.
Right.
And which you don't like and you will ignore, and it will not come. And gradually you will have a very precise, customized online algorithm, and your newsfeed will be perfectly okay for you. This is what I have been doing since I joined this Facebook. Because no, I'm not going to even look at it. I don't want this in my life right now. I'm not saying that all other things are bad. No, they were not appropriate at that time or in this time of my life. So I don't have time for that. So I don't want to even see that. This scrupulousness we need to protect ourselves. That's the second step and the most important step in the healing, the process of healing. This is personally, I feel, because trauma, of course, the intensity can vary like sky and the ground. Of course, your trauma could be a most horrible thing, and my trauma could be very trivial for you. The trauma is still a trauma.
Yes.
And we all go through that. At some point, we all go through that, some kind of traumatic situation and circumstances. So that we all have to be very scrupulous about that. And the third process, what we do after that. Of course, first we throw up. Second, we are not going to ingest this thing anymore. Okay, that's a second step. And the third step is to heal ourselves. We have to be very careful and gentle with ourselves.
Yes.
I think the trauma needs gentleness more, nothing more than that, really. The most important thing is to be gentle with yourself. You cannot go hurry and okay, yes, I'm going to achieve these things and I'm going to do all these things. No, just be gentle with your system, because just recently you get rid of that foreign body from your system, and your body was going through a lot of chaos and turmoil, and now you have to just be gentle with yourself. The sharing part is done. Throwing up, which is actually a throwing up, and then of course, yes, I'm going to guard myself. I'm not going to interact with any nonsense anymore, and then be gentle. I think this is what we all need. Of course, this is again just my understanding of healing with the trauma. But of course, intensities varies, and the medications also involved into this, and other things also involved. But therapy and everything is not important more than being gentle with yourself.
Right.
Very important.
This is what I think.
That's a big part of the evolution.
I was reading your. Yes.
Yeah, in trauma, that's in trauma recovery, that's a big part of the equation. After just consistently, and I'll go back to what you said about me not loving, but liking myself, at least learning to like myself. Being compassionate with yourself takes a lot. So yes, that's one of the important aspects of trauma recovery is learning to be compassionate. But for many, many sexual abuse and child abuse survivors, domestic violence, many survivors of those traumatic experiences, they get a mindset of they really don't like themselves. They don't like who they are. They don't like the world. Okay. And some of them, even like myself, you can grow to hate yourself.
Yeah, you think it's all your fault. It must be something, must be. See that should again, should and must be. Must be my fault. Nonsense.
So what happens though is that being told right away, and I'm using the word told specifically because that happened to me frequently. Constantly being told, well, just love yourself, just like yourself. It's going to be better. All you have to do is learn to like yourself. All you have to do is learn how to forgive. I'm going to call it bullshit.
Exactly.
It doesn't work that way. It doesn't, because you can't. I don't know of anybody, and I'm saying this, and call me out if you need to, but I don't know of anybody who doesn't like themselves and go from I really don't like myself to I'm happy, I love myself. I can give myself compassion. Doesn't work. So when you said that trauma is trauma for everybody, it is at varying degrees, and the same with the varying degrees of loving ourselves and being compassionate. And that has to come in bits and pieces. All of this is bits and pieces. None of this happened for me overnight. I'm 64, and I started this journey 5 years ago after a very unfortunate attempt at exiting my life forever. I'm not ever going to forget that was my start. That was my beginning, because I needed that life.
The leverage.
It was pure leverage, but it was also necessary.
Exactly.
It was necessary. There's another truth that was hard to come to, that, my God, that did happen, and that had to happen. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here.
Absolutely. That's why I was very careful about the word compassion and love. I was not using it because, again, when anyone else is saying or suggesting something that, oh, you should love yourself, you should like yourself, people who are going through a trauma, it sounds like you should. Exactly as it was in the past.
I usually suggest when my writing, it's like, and I try to make that implication that I understand that it's hard to be compassionate with yourself. because sometimes even just liking yourself is
It's a big
Yeah.
deal. Oh,
a
liking is a
Yeah.
challenge.
big, huge
Yeah.
deal. Liking is a big, huge deal. It's a
It is.
next
Yes.
level thing.
Yes. I mean,
Well,
Norma says, she says,
Yes.
yes, Beena, sometimes easier to love than like. I love myself, but I don't like myself yet.
Oh, for me, exactly, it
Very
is
right.
like
important.
that.
Well, Norma,
Yes, it's an
But
enormous word.
sure, again, I was emphasizing on the being gentle with yourself, because
Yes,
just being gentle, okay, I'm not making progress, it's okay, I'm not making a progress. Okay, if
yeah,
I'm not liking myself, it's okay right now. It is
right.
exactly like when you have stitches in your organs, you cannot just go out and have McDonald's and fizzy drinks and cans and everything. You cannot do this with your system. So it is like, it's just be gentle. Whatever is happening, be gentle. You don't need to
Do you
be
guys,
have compassion if it is not coming naturally. You don't
right.
need to love yourself. If someone is
right.
saying that and you don't like that, just be gentle. Let it be.
You
That
know,
that's
Incremental
listen,
change.
but
Incremental change.
well,
Yeah.
gentle with myself was never a part of my vocabulary. Up until the time when I started working with the both of you doing the Way of
Yeah.
Impeccability. That was the first time that I actually ever got the idea that it was okay to be gentle with me.
yes,
I didn't have to punish
exactly.
myself.
Right,
I
right,
was
right.
my own punisher. And
Yep.
when I got to that
Should.
moment, yeah, when I got, yeah, I was punishing myself because I thought, well, I'm a bad kid because, this
I
happened to me.
should do this to
This,
myself. Yeah.
yeah.
Shooting
Okay,
Well,
and
myself.
like the
just want to
priests
add the
beat
fourth step.
themselves on the back.
I personally, oh yeah, sorry, I was talking. Please continue.
Oh, no, I was just saying, so it was, you should, just like Syl said, should shrink your world.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I was not open. There was so much that I was not open to, so much that was just,
Exactly.
I was just so
Exactly.
closed. My heart
Exactly.
was closed,
Yeah.
my body,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I was shrouded. I was shrouded in an enormous, another
Yeah.
side me. You
Yeah.
know, I've, so what I did is I expunged all of the internal stuff. I shared and shared and shared and shared my story and shared and shared and shared and details, and offensive to people. And they're just like, how dare you even
Yeah.
put that out there? Well, because it's mine.
Necessary.
I own it and I can
Exactly. It's
talk
mine.
about it. And I have to purge this. I
Yeah.
have to get rid of it.
Of
But
Yeah.
course, you have
now
to throw it out.
you did.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And so now I'm done throwing up, for
Right.
lack of a better
Right.
word.
For me,
Right.
just want to add one more thing, because
Done
the
throwing
fourth
up.
step for me into that, after being just be gentle with yourself, the fourth one is to accept yourself, that this is a new life. Because when we
There
accept
you
that,
go.
Yeah.
once we accept that this is the new life, it means that I am a baby just now born. I want to rewrite my life, so I need to
There
have
you go.
everything as
There
learn
we
as
go.
new.
Mm-hmm.
So
There
now
you
new
go.
experiences. Okay,
Right.
yes, I don't know. I'm going to learn now. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
because unlearning is not a process. This is something
Right.
I personally feel that
Right.
unlearning is we can't do it. At least
Yeah.
right till now, we can't do it. But we can relearn. We can
Yeah.
relearn by experiences those things like you are
Right.
doing. It is
Mm-hmm.
actually like you are living your childhood. Why I'm saying that? Because you are learning again. Learning is
Yes.
actually the process of
Yes.
being a child.
Yes.
And of course,
And, and
learning.
and important from a compassion point of view, from what Bean is
Yes.
saying, we're starting anew like babies, like children. Do we hold ignorance against babies and small children?
Do we hold what?
Ignorance. Do we hold their ignorance against them?
No.
No.
They're stupid. They don't know anything, but we don't hold it against them. We have compassion for them. Oh, you got to learn. But
Right.
we have to have this for all people. We are always children compared to the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Always. Right? So think of it
Yeah.
that way. Yeah. We do
And what's
not
interesting though
deserve
is
to be punished, says Norma. We have done
this,
nothing wrong by being.
right.
Precisely. We have done nothing
And this,
wrong by being. Exactly.
but just this process of being, there are so many different chapters or segments or whatever it is you want to call it.
Yeah.
There's almost these landmarks or, like bookmarks that I can just sit here and visualize all these different statements
Uh,
And now all of a sudden it feels like I've come full circle. And now, like you said, both of you are trying to describe. So here's my understanding. Gone full circle. And now I'm right back to the beginning,
Yes.
but not with the mindset. The
Yes.
mindset is no longer that I want to quit, that I want to end my life. My mindset now is I want to explore life. I want to
You
see.
actually ended your life.
It's not closed. You open.
Yeah, I want to see
But
what's out
sure,
there.
you
now.
actually ended your life.
You did?
Yeah,
You actually did.
I did.
You
Symbolically,
really ended your
correct.
life there.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
From there, you are
Yeah,
starting
yeah.
a new life. You are starting a completely new life.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is something, okay, very exciting. Again, I cannot say that, okay, yes, I understand about trauma, because trauma is a very sensitive thing. But I really ask people, I really want people to understand that. Don't make it sensitive, because this was not your fault. So you don't need to defend it.
Exactly.
It is what it is. It happened to you. Like if you see a tree and which is blooming and having fruits and flowers, and somebody is cutting it down, are you going to just blame yourself? And tree is going to say, no, okay, no, I'm very sensitive about it. Don't be sensitive about it. It was not your fault.
Yeah.
And you are not a defendant of that act. No.
Right.
You don't need to explain. You don't need to defend. All you need, of course, yes, to throw it out. Just share it without any expectations that people will understand it or not. This is not your responsibility. This is not your concern. You have to throw it out because people need to be aware of it. And that's it. You should, because you were not very sensitive. Yes, you are, but of course you were not that sensitive about those matters. Because you,
you were willing to talk about it. That means you weren't overly sensitive about it. You could talk about it.
You have already disconnected yourself from that, because we are not trauma. Trauma happened to us. So this is not my identity, which I feel sensitive
Very
about.
accurate statement.
I don't
We
need
are
to guard
not
it.
our trauma.
Yes.
Right. We are not our trauma. We are something else. Exactly.
Whatever happened to anyone, including myself, whatever happened, that was the most horrendous, most horrible, most cruel act. But that happened other than me. I'm an individual.
Exactly. Two are separate. The two are separate. Right.
Do whatever you want to say.
I want to make a big point also. Sure, you were saying when you were in that situation back then, in the trauma in the previous life, right? You were very closed. You were it was very tight. Just your world was very small and very narrow. Now, this is the problem with fixing. With fixing, we are looking at that small world and somehow to make that right. But it's a bubble in the moreness. And no matter what you do to that bubble, it's still only a small part. No matter how much you fix it, you're still going to have that limitation, that narrowness, right? That bubbleness. So we have to be very careful to understand that this is the problem with fixing, that you don't see the moreness. You don't see the moreness. It keeps you closed because you're only focusing on your bubble. You're fixing all your problems. Well, all you're going to be doing is focusing on problems. And your algorithm says, oh, all your attention is on problems. Let me give you more. Yeah, I've seen this happen with therapy and people going to therapy over and over. It's why they stay in therapy forever. They constantly have more problems that they need to go back to therapy for, and they stay there their whole lives. So we have to be open to moreness and say, it's not about fixing, but it's about replacing. If you remember when we started in Way-Of-Impeccability, I made this point over and over and over again. We're not here to fix. We're going to replace. We're going to add. We're going to connect to moreness. That replacement is important because we have those habits and we need to replace them with moreness. Don't fix your old habits, replace them. Right? Very important. Very, 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 very important. I love this. I love this. Our whole discussion.
I had a thought that occurred to me. We're going to have to wrap it up here soon. This thought occurred to me that even though I came in with the statement of I've said all that I needed to say, but I need to finish that because now I have more to say.
Yes.
And that more to say now is about the journey ahead, what comes after, or what's going to come after for me, because what's going to come for me may not be for the next person. It may not be for somebody else, but it can be similar. I guess what I'm trying to get at is I know that I'm not done talking, but I'm done talking about the pain. I'm done talking about the devastation. And because there is no more pain inside, I can think about and I can speak about and I can elaborate with detail on what happened. But I just feel like, to what purpose?
All that baggage you were carrying around, psychologically, spiritually, emotionally, and physically, you have literally shed.
Yeah, I have. Yep.
Incredible.
The weight, everything. Absolutely. And I found the ability to play something that I didn't think I could do. I gave it an attempt before to play and to be childlike or to feel my inner child. I used to want to do that, but now I can see her and my inner wise woman. I can see both.
Right. So we can say about Sher that she's become twice the woman by becoming half the woman.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Literally half. I mean,
exactly. Literally half, right? But you become more than twice by becoming half the woman. This is just too brilliant. This is too brilliant. Conundrums like and these coexisting contradictions. Yes, you can put it as a quote there. You can use it. Feel free. Hello, La Sombra, for joining us on IG. Lovely, wonderful.
This is so wonderful.
Please ask questions. Inez, ask a question. Yes. Come on, Inez, if you're still here, ask something.
I was going to say, I'm going to put a little plug for myself. I am on Instagram and Facebook. On Instagram, it's Sher_Unbound. So, if you guys, want to look me up, follow me on there, talk with me. Ask me
please do.
Love to do that.
Lots of value. So many different paths. Another point I wanted to mention, very important point. When you were talking about when you came in and you visited in Sedona, right? And we did that workshop that I did on perspective shifting, and you went away and you put the thing over your head. It's like, what the hell is this? This is important to remember, for ourselves, to say, wow, at that time I didn't get it, but also to remember that what I'm saying now, which is obvious and clear to me, it may not be so for others, right?
Right.
I mean, that was a whole workshop. We did 2 days on it, right? It's in detail, in depth, and it didn't connect because something was missing there, and some key point that you didn't know. But if we remember this, that what is obvious to us is not necessarily obvious to others. That's very key.
Right. Well, if you remember, I felt that I was stupid.
Right, exactly. But you weren't, of course, because it didn't happen. And of course, that attention on thinking you're stupid made you made you not understand it to prove that you were right, because you don't want to say wrong things about yourself.
That's right.
So we have to be very careful also to be aware that the obvious, as obvious it is to us, is not necessarily obvious to others. It's not obvious until it's obvious. It wasn't obvious before it became obvious. And also, what you say about yourself is self-proving.
Yes, exactly. That's it right there. Shifting. Okay, you self-proving, but the key thing, if somebody were to ask me, you or Beena were to say, okay, what was like the most key, what was the biggest key to unlocking all of this or getting where you are? And that would be shifting my beliefs. And
exactly.
I did that.
Exactly.
I'm telling you, shifting my beliefs, shifting all of those thoughts, and it took several different tools, several different techniques to make that happen. But I had to shift the belief that I was worthless, that I wasn't enough, that I was nobody, that I didn't belong, that I didn't deserve. That
I want to mention 2 profound techniques which you utilized, because they are deeply part of Way-of-Impeccability, deeply utilized, and that are really massive for changing your beliefs, because changing beliefs otherwise is very difficult. And the 2 are, first, change your self-conception. Not your self-description, like I'm a mother and I'm a tailor, no, your self-conception, who you think you really are. In other words, I'm a useless person, I'm no good. No, I'm a person who can learn, I'm a person who can grow. You don't have to go and say it like in affirmation logic, which is, again, it's kind of BSy, because you want to suddenly shift your concept and say, I'm fantastic, I'm wonderful, I'm queen of the world. No, it's just not true. And when you say anything that's untrue, it doesn't work. And that brings us to the second point. First one of the techniques. First one, change your self-conception, right? And have it be open. I can learn, I can grow. That's really all you need to do. From there, everything else follows. Once you have this, I'm open to more. It builds stuff like that into your self-conception, everything else comes. Secondly, the other technique is pay excruciating, exquisite, precise, and detailed attention to your self-talk. What you say, you make true, right? I'm so stupid. Of course, you're going to then be stupid because we don't want to be a phony and a liar. So what we say about ourselves, we make it true, right? Now, of course, at the same time, if you say, well, I'm intelligent, I'm a genius. Well, if that's not true, then you're going to feel like a phony, and then you're also going to negate that, right? But if you say things that can be true, like, I can learn. Of course you can learn. Of course you can learn. Doesn't mean just because you didn't learn in the past doesn't mean you can't learn now. What you can learn, that's open for you to discover. But you can learn, right? I can change. This is a truth. So say things that are true but are open-ended, right? Describe yourself and have a conception that's true as well as open-ended. So don't go from one extreme to the other. I'm stupid and now I'm a genius, because either way you're being untrue and a phony. And our inner system does not tolerate that. Got to be real, got to be real, got to be real. But you can say things that are changing. I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm less full of nonsense than I was before. I'm less angry than I was before. I'm less traumatized than I was before. When you make it a progression, it is true, because you are working on it. It is true. I am less. Maybe only a tiny bit, but it's true. I am less. That's important, right? So very important. Self-talk and self-conception and incremental change.
That's why the keyword yet. I lean heavily into yet.
Norma. Exactly. Norma said that. See, the yet there. Very powerful, Norma. Thank you very much. Norma always has this magical stuff that she brings here. And by the way, Norma, I'll speak for all of us here. We love you and like you, both together. Right?
Of course. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
You are lovable. Yes. And you are likable, Norma. And you are likable. You're very likable, Norma. Marvelously likable.
When I was working on changing my self-conception, I took it upon myself. That was when I started to recognize that I needed to have a relationship with myself.
Yes.
I had to form that relationship.
There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go.
To give myself any kind of compassion or understanding, to believe the awarenesses that I was stepping into. Because to me, it was it was incredible. And it's still an incredible journey. I'm going to put on a plug here for you. So if anybody listening, watching, has any questions about Way of Impeccability, I'm telling you, it is a life changer. It is a life changer.
It is. It is. It is. When applied.
When applied.
Thank you.
This isn't a once a week application. This isn't I've got class today application. This is a living application. You have
and it's a toolbox.
It is, but you.
It's like you coming onto a construction site. I'm not going to tell you this is how you build a house. I'm going to show you this is how you use the tools. You got to build your own house, right? So it's not a belief system. It's not a belief system. It's a set of tools.
And it has to be used every day.
Yeah. I want to touch on Norma's comment. Exactly what you said. Sure. It has to be used every day, all the time. And that's very, very critical. And when it comes to this attunement for what's next, pay attention to everything in your life from the viewpoint, from the attention of, is this what's next for me? Is this what's next for me? Whatever comes your way. Is this what's next? Is this what's next? And sooner or later, you're going to, this is what's next. Oh, okay. All right. And it's going to come. Right? Very key.
Yes.
And Norma makes a very, very important point here. And I know you're running out of time a bit because you got a client coming at 12. So Sher also does life coaching. Yes. And this touch, you can reach both of us. We come at things in different ways, but that's the magic of Moreness. There's always a different path for everybody, right?
Yes.
Norma says, but what about the changes trauma made in us? My bad bits of me have been caused. Only now am I learning. and found love in all others and myself. Very key point here, Norma. Yes, the external factors caused that trauma to be in you, but there is a part that you played in that too. And that is that you accepted that. You bought into that logic, right?
Yeah.
You subscribe to it, in other words. When we understand that that is our part that we play, yes, there's the external cause, but the trauma itself comes from connecting to it, subscribing to it, buying into it, believing that you are traumatized, etc. And this belief that trauma comes totally, entirely, 100% from outside. No, it's outside and inside. Yes, sir?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
My heart kind of jumped when I heard, bad bits. Like, oh, Norma, no, there's no bad bits to us. We don't have bad bits. We don't have bad bits.
Exactly.
That was a belief planted by whoever was hurting.
Exactly.
You.
And you are buying into that belief. You are subscribing to it, right? You owning that. You accept that as a belief. The moment you say, no, I do not accept this. This is from outside. It's not from me. I don't accept it. I don't buy into it. I don't believe this. Yeah, the trauma is external, like Beena said. It's not you, right? So whatever bad bits are there because you're holding on to them, you're clinging on to them, and you're buying into it. Shift.
Yeah. There are many ways to throw it out. Actually, there are many ways to throw it out. Yes, one is being vocal about it. Just share it with anyone. And of course, like Sher is writing a book, and of course, many other ways, which is not necessary to describe it here. But you have to get rid of this by first accepting and acknowledging that it's a foreign body in my system. I need to get rid of this.
Exactly. When I have flu,
chaos and trauma is causing by this having a foreign body in my system. Get rid of it.
I think it was like having the flu or the cold, right? When I get a cold, it's a foreign body, a virus that came into me. Am I the flu or the cold? Is that me now? No.
Yeah.
It's something in me. I work through it. I deal with it, and off it goes, right? Same thing with this stuff. Beliefs. When we think of beliefs as viruses, changes our whole worldview, right? So that belief of the go ahead, sure.
Oh, I was just thinking, about what Beena was just talking about it, and you both. All of a sudden, it hit me in my head. It's like I didn't want to go there, but I cannot imagine the years that have been. I'm not going to say lost, because of course they were there for a reason. But there's a lot of years of holding on to that belief that I was a bad person. That's a lot of years that could have been spent doing something else.
And was this a fact?
Was what?
No.
Was it a fact that I was a bad person?
This belief that you're a bad person, was it a fact?
No, it was a lie.
No. The same belief as you were mentioning about feeling stupid when something new just come. Like it was like, okay, what Syl was talking about, and now you were feeling stupid. Of course, it happens with all of us at some point in my life. I have this acceptance that whenever I feel stupid in front of something, I said, oh my God, this is something I need to learn, because this is something I don't know. This is a new thing. Yeah. So when you say that, I kind of like enjoy being stupid in that way. Really, whenever I encounter that feeling, oh my God, I'm feeling stupid here. It means that there is something which I was not aware of it. So I'm going to learn about it. So this is a perspective shifting. You can say that I was doing automatically.
Right.
Instead of feeling stupid, I said, oh my God, this is something new. I had no idea about it.
Oh, what I was referring to, it was a statement that was by one of my caretakers' parent, when I was little, always telling me, you're just so dense, you're so dumb, you're just not going to get this, you're not smart enough. And I learned to believe it. I did. I just believed it and told myself all the rest of my life, I'm not smart enough to do that. And I told myself I wasn't smart enough to be an attorney, and I wanted to be. I wanted to be.
Exactly the same thing I have just experienced. My cousin who lives in Saudi, she came to Pakistan to visit every one of us and family. And she came with her daughter. And her daughter is a very good child. Still know him, Shanze, know her. And she's a wonderful child, wonderful artist. Still, no sound. No sound. We can't
No
hear you,
sound?
Syl. Okay. Yes, for Syl. Anyway, so Shanzi was here. And when Shanzi was interacting with her cousins living in Pakistan here, other family members and children. So a girl who is younger than Shanze is the name of the daughter, my cousin. She was 2 years or maybe 3 years younger. And she was telling me, Ani, she's stupid. She was saying about Shanze. And I was like, okay, how? Why you say that? And she said, she don't know anything about, like, okay, she don't know how people are saying. And that little girl was telling me that Shanze is stupid because she don't know that, okay, what is the family politics and street smartness is. Shanze is a wonderful kid, brilliant girl, wonderful artist, and of course a topper in her school also, and a well-mannered child. But what she was calling her, like, she's stupid. Because according to her understanding, she doesn't understand that, okay, how to just manipulate others and how to do tricks and, of course, be greedy and all these things. So this is also exists, that sometimes people just say that you doesn't belong to this cult, whatever they want. I want to call it with any bad name I can name it, but really they call them stupid. They call us stupid. I was also stupid according to my friends and my cousins and family members. I was also stupid, and still I am, because they say, "Oh, she's just stupid. She's lunatic." Like, okay, how can you read a book like this? How can you just spend your time like this? How can you talk to these people? They call me stupid. Do I believe them? No, because I know that, okay, they have a completely different bubble, and my bubble is different. But now it is easy to say, when a person is going through a trauma, or especially children, we take everything personally. We need to understand that as a child, we are so self-centered. Everything, the whole world is spent just around us, for us, only for us.
Yeah.
So if my parents are doing something, they are doing for me or against me. That's the only, we have the rule, like, okay, oh yes, if someone is doing something, either it is for me or against me. This is a child mindset. We need to understand. We took everything so personally. That's why I say, okay, I know that again, it's a very sensitive topic, but I say that please try to understand that you are not your trauma, and you are not obliged to defend or explain it. So don't be sensitive about it. Whatever the cruel, most horrible, ridiculous acts were there, not yours. You have
use it, defy it by using it to your advantage, leverage it, use it like Sher did, right, sir?
Yeah, definitely leverage it. And I understand that it's one of the hardest things to do, which is to believe or buy into that statement, you are not your trauma, when it hurts so much. It hurts. It does. Those memories, those
absolutely.
And I can tell you emphatically with 100%. I don't like stating facts, but it is a fact that if there's a phrase, in recovery, in AA recovery, that it works if you work it. So does this.
Exactly. Application.
So does trauma recovery. It works if you work it every single day. You've got to just buy into the belief. For once, give yourself a favor. You can buy into the belief that you can change, that your trauma can be released.
You can change.
I'm not going to tell anybody you will or you're going to. I'm going to say you can, because it's up to you.
Correct. Exactly. Whether you will or not, that's your choice.
There it is.
Yeah. And that's the point. It's accepting responsibility.
That's it there.
When we say, yes, bad stuff has happened to me, the world caused all this, I'm blaming it. Everything else is blame.
For the recovery.
Exactly. The blame is on others for what happened, but your recovery is your responsibility. Yours and yours alone. If you don't take responsibility for changing out of the situation, from dealing with it, handling with it, learning from it, growing from it, leveraging it, extracting value and moreness from it, We can go all the way, not just change, not just recovering from it, because that's only one part of it. We want to extract moreness and value. That's Moreness-Culture. We want to get the most we can. We can say, oh, this is useful to me. This is valuable to me.
That's where our strength is.
Wow, now really shifted a long way. But that's my choice. I choose to do that. It's my responsibility to do that. No one else's. No one else's. No one else's. My choice.
Okay, I have a bit of reservations about, like, okay, recovery is your responsibility. I personally don't want to. I don't want to go into this thing, because personally I feel that we must say, okay, I'm saying here that recovery is a choice. Yes, it happened, but recovery is a choice, not a responsibility. Because not everyone in this situation. So yes, I don't want to say these harsh words that it is your responsibility.
Correct.
Again, it is coming like a sure that you should do something.
Right.
About it.
You don't have to recover. You can stay a victim if you want to. You can stay unhappy and miserable. That's your choice.
Be gentle with yourself. Yes, it's just a choice. So it's not a responsibility. Don't take it, because we already taking as a lot of burden. A lot of burden already you have. So don't take it as a burden anymore, that okay, oh, I need to recover. You don't need to do anything about it. It just happened. It just happened. Now it's a choice. Of course, whenever you want to make it, just make a choice. That's it. So that's why.
Well, choice of words. If you want to recover, the recovery is your responsibility. Let me put it that way. Right?
I still don't want to say that responsibility.
Well,
I'm a bit sensitive about this thing. That is the statement that this is your responsibility. Someone did something like, okay, I'm going. Yes, so it is my choice. Yes, like if someone is just throw something on me, dirty thing. It's just
it's your choice how you react.
Yes. Okay. Now I have to go and clean myself. Yes, I know, but I need to do this for my own self. It is not my responsibility. This was their responsibility to clean this mess, but I'm doing it because it is for my own sake. So
but it's your responsibility how you react to it and respond to it. That's the part that's your responsibility.
I don't want to say that recovery is a responsibility. No.
No. I love that. I love that. See how we discuss and get to more. Sure. Yes, wonderful, Beena. Wonderful. Sure, you were saying.
No, I was just going to say I can see both points where it's a responsibility and not. I can see it both ways.
Right. They coexist.
But
depends on the context.
Right. It depends on the context. It depends on how the person is approaching it. It just has so many different determining factors when it comes to whether or not, yes, we are individually accountable. We are individually, if we have to own what we're going through, we have to own it. We can't put it out on someone else. So it's not up to anybody else to take care of it. Especially
we have to deal with it.
They're not going to do anything about it. We're left holding the bag. We have to deal with it. But we have that choice. We have a choice to deal with it or to not. We have a choice to just try and forget it, or we can choose to go head on like a bull in a china shop and try and grow from it.
And the fact that we can
sorry, say the last changes or anything. So
exactly.
It's both.
Exactly. And the fact that we can choose not to recover, choose not to change, choose not to learn and grow. That's just proof. And it means that our choices are real. They're true choices.
Yes.
The fact that you can choose stupidity means you actually have real choice, true choice.
I personally feel that it's a choice. And then, of course, it's a gesture. Every person, anyone who is going through a trauma, and they are putting effort to actually recollect themselves and recover from that thing. It's a gesture. They are doing good for other people, for the whole universe right now. This is my understanding.
Wow.
Personally, just one simple thing happened, like very small, trivial thing happened in my life. I was a teenager, and Eid is a celebration. It's like a Christmas thing here. And I had a beautiful dress. My mother designed this for me, and it was a pure chiffon and all the velvets and everything. They're beautiful embroidery. So my sister and we were getting ready, and my dress was just there on the iron board on the side. And she came and she started actually ironing her dress, which was in pure cotton. So she was just doing that on the maximum, and she was ironing. And what she did, instead of putting the iron on the right spot, she put it there, and the iron fell on my dress. and it just went through from the top to bottom.
Trauma.
Oh,
And it was an Eid day. Okay, everybody was getting ready, and I had not that suitable dress for that. But the problem was not that my dress was ruined by that. The problem started when my mother came and she says, "Why you put it there?" She was also in a trauma because, of course, at that time we were not in a good financial condition, and she put a lot of effort in making that. And of course, it was Eid day, and she was also feeling compassion towards me. But her reaction was like, "Why you put it?" And that became a huge deal for me. I said, I could tolerate that this happened to my dress. No problem. Okay, it happened. But why you are blaming me for that thing?
Yeah.
right.
And it's still a big problem for me. I do react. I don't want to react. I want to respond to that. But when I haven't done something and you blame it for me,
Unfairness.
It is just my understanding. The problem with the trauma is that when people started blaming me that, oh, it is something you have to do this, you should do that, you should do this and all that. And of course, it is your responsibility. I feel it creates another trauma. I personally feel.
See where you're coming from
it
on
could
that.
be totally wrong. Yes.
Yeah.
So that instead of saying that, it just simply acknowledge that, okay, yes, this thing happened to you. We understand that. That's it.
Yeah.
It is not your responsibility. It's a gesture you are doing. It's a very noble cause that, okay, noble thing what you are doing to recover yourself, to rebuild yourself. You need to appreciate that. But don't make it their responsibility.
Right. You just described with that example, a very good, it was just a very good illustration of the different depths in trauma.
Yeah.
You really did, as well as that how nuanced it is, and it's so individual for every single person.
Exactly.
Because I would not have connected, it would have taken me a bit, but I would not have connected. The trauma for you wasn't the burning dress, it was how your mother approached it.
The unfairness.
The unfairness of that situation, putting it on you instead of
exactly.
Whoa, this would happen. Okay. So that I can get, and I can understand then why responsibility attached to the word trauma is so sensitive for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then me coming from my end, where I use the word responsibility is owning it as a person that, this happened to me and I got to do something. Ultimately, sometime or another, I'm either going to choose not to, or I'm going to choose to do something, but it's on me. Nobody else can make me do it. I own it. So I have to take care of it. So that's where responsibility comes from for me, was even though I was the one who was injured, it was up to me to make the choices to, am I going to live, or am I just going to cash it all in?
Yes.
That was where responsibility.
I do understand. I completely. That's why I'm saying that. Okay, I have a bit more sensitive spot here. I don't want to put anything which sounds or seem like a should for any person who's going through a trauma.
Right. No, and
that's why I'm saying, okay,
I do appreciate that.
You don't need to love yourself. You don't need, you have to do this. You have to be compassionate. I don't want to hear as a person who is going through a trauma or been through, I don't want to hear any should or any have to. Because if I could, I would stop that. If you're assuming that I'm so empowered, so firm in my decision making, and of course implementing that, then it is giving me a subconsciously that I would be empowered enough to stop that at that moment. So that's why I want to say any should to any person who goes through it.
Yes. And Beena.
Yes.
Sher has to go, but before Sher goes, I want to share a screen real quickly for the response to that trauma that happened at the time. Yes. For you. Okay. Here we go. Yeah. And Beena. Sher has to go, but before Sher goes, I want to share the screen real quickly for the response to that trauma that happened. Inappropriate at the time.
Inappropriate?
Yes.
Oh.
For you.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah.
That
We were my sister shared this video with Syl and said that this is Syl's childhood, because the way it says inappropriate, it was absolutely sound like Syl.
Yeah.
And also the
I'm
way
very
he's
adamant.
adamant. Yes, the way he's so adamant about things. So that they're okay. Again, it is nothing wrong or right here. It is just a different and multiple coexisting perspectives.
Very
My
true.
personal opinion about my personal understanding about trauma is that trauma doesn't happen in just one isolated incident.
Right.
It's always has so many legs like an octopus, Okay, you have to deal with everything after that, this thing and this thing and this thing. So many things happen. It never happened in the isolation, just in one thing, because if you ask that, okay, someone just physically abused someone. The trauma is not just a physical thing. Of course, a spiritual thing, psychological thing, emotional thing, and also the understanding of the world. Oh, I was assuming that person's supposed to be this, and he was not, or she was not, which means that I start doubting myself, my understanding of the world, my understanding of the people, and then I will learn to hide things. So trauma has so many depths, and they are always, even the trivial one,
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. There's a lot of there's a lot of outfall from it, from any situation.
Very important. Yes. Anything to say in closing? Anything to say in closing? I just thank you. So awesome. There was a comment from Norma that I wanted to read that she said, "We are not us of the past. We are the newborn us of the now, and the future is ours."
Absolutely.
Love
Through
that,
choice.
Norma.
Through choice.
I love that. That's beautiful.
Thank you so much, Sher. Before going, please, if you'd like to share something.
No, I just wanted to say thank you both for, just being in my life. That's my biggest, what I want to share.
Oh, it's our joy. Our joy.
Not too many people thank the two of you, I don't think, enough for being in our lives. And so I'm going to openly say it, because, wow, my life has just been nothing but amazing changes.
Thank you.
Everything.
Same for us.
Thank you.
Same for us. Thank you so much.
You are magic in our lives also.
Yes.
So I was talking about Beena yesterday, when Beena said she grabbed the opportunity to come all the time, and it's just a joy to me. It was just one-sided, two-sided.
Yes. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you so much, Norma, Ines, and Lubna, and Durshka, and whoever joined us, and whoever is going to watch us recorded on YouTube. Please do click like and subscribe to our channel. By doing so, you are going to train our algorithm, that online algorithm, to train ultimately your life algorithm, because choices make our world, of course. And if you have any question, any comment about the trauma healing process and about Sher's book, please do make a comment and we will forward it to Sher.
Listen what Beena threw in there so casually. Choices make our world.
That's true. That's a huge statement. Thank you for that, Beena.
Huge. Choices make our world. Going into my quote file.
Yep.
Beena Sidd.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye. And we'll see you on Sunday. We'll see you on Sunday.
Yes. Hope we will have Sher again.
Topics,
or maybe
and others, and others as well. Not just Sher too. Others too. So very cool.
Okay, everyone. Bye for now.
Love you, guys.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. 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 Bye-bye.